All right, good morning, everybody. Get ready to focus to be successful. This is the Test 22 review, so let's see what we have going on today. So I see some people still making mistakes with decimal multiplying. Remember, don't confuse it with the shortcut we learned when we are multiplying by multiples of 10. Right now, if it's not a multiple of 10, just set it up. Don't line up at the decimal point. 5 times 5 is 25, so I'm going to write down my 5, carry my 2. 5 times 1 is 2 plus 2 more. Hey, that's going to give us 75. Then you want to count the total number of decimal digits in the problem. I have a 1 and a 5, so that's 2. And I have a 5, so that makes 3. Move the decimal point over that many places to the left in the answer. So I'm going to start at the end of my number. I'm going to jump over 1. I'm going to jump over 2. And I don't have another digit here to jump over, so I have to write in a 0, right? And then I'm going to go and jump over my third digit. If I have 3 decimal digits in the problem, I need 3 decimal digits in the answer. Then I'm going to go and write in a 0 at my ones place. My last step, I want to erase any jump lines I may have left for a final answer of 75 thousandths. Here we have one right, 25% as a reduced fraction. And remember, you can write any percent with the denominator of 100 and then go ahead and reduce. So if I want to write 25% as a fraction to start off with, all I need is 25 over 100. Then I want to start reducing. What's the largest number I could divide into both 25 and 100? A lot of times, kids will kind of miss it, and it's okay as long as you remember to keep dividing. The greatest number you could divide into both actually would be 25. Then you go and divide the numerator divided by the numerator, denominator divided by the denominator. 25 divided by 25, hey, that's 1. 100 divided by 25 would be 4. You could have started off with a lot of other numbers, but you would have ended up having to divide a whole lot more. Check out this one coming at us from lesson 107. In a roll of 50 pennies, 15 were minted before 1985. What percent of the pennies in the roll were minted before 1985? Well, let's start off with our fraction, right? We have 15 fiftieths. Remember to turn it into a percent. If you can make an equivalent fraction with a denominator of 100, is the easiest way. So I have to go and leave some room for my number in the middle. Start off with a denominator of 100. So now we got to think, 50 times what is going to give us 100? Hopefully you know that answer would be 2. And if I multiply the denominator by 2, I also have to multiply my numerator by 2. So now 15 times 2 would be 30. 30 over 100 is an equivalent fraction to 15 fiftieths, right? And if it has a denominator of 100, you just got to look at your numerator for your percent. So that would be 30%. Let's keep going and stay focused. Check out this one, coming at us from lessons 101 and 104. The first part says, round 98 and 631 thousandths to the nearest whole number. So if they're talking about rounding to the nearest whole number, you just got to ask yourself, is it closer to 98 or 99? And the way to do that is, if it's half or more, round the whole number up. So the first digit here, 6 in the tenths place. Well, 6/10 is more than half, right? So I'm going to round this guy up to 99. Let's try this one down here with the fraction. We're going to round 6 5/8 to the nearest whole number. You got to ask yourself, is it closer to 6 or is it closer to 7? Again, 5/8, half of 8 would be 4. So is 5 more than half or less than half? It is definitely more than half, so I'm going to round 6 5/8 up to 7. Here we have to go and compare. Remember, compare the whole number side first to the left of the decimal point. Here I have a 0, here I have 1. It's already game over. 1 is greater than 0, right? So 37 hundredths is less than 1 36 thousandths. Check out this one. What is the perimeter of the square? Remember our formula for perimeter, P equals 2L plus 2W, or I still like just saying add all the sides. But the length is 9, which means the width is also 9. So I can go 2 times 9 is 18, and do the width. 2 times 9 is 18. 18 plus 18 is 36 inches. You still also could have just went 9 plus 9 plus 9 plus 9. If that formula with the 2L and the 2W gets you messed up, just add all the sides. Check out this one coming at us from lesson 72. What is the area of the square? We just got done saying that the length is 9, the width is 9, and area equals length times width. One horizontal side times the one vertical side. 9 times 9, that is 81. But don't forget to label in square units. You must label the units. So 81 square inches. If I multiplied two numbers together, I got to give it an exponent of 2. Check out this one. We still have some people that will go and do the work in parentheses, and then they'll forget the other half of the problem. Start with the work in parentheses first. 5 minus 1 1/4. Not sure if you can do that mentally or not. If you can't, you can always set it up on paper. But the answer here would be 3 3/4, right? So now that I have the answer for the work in parentheses, I want to set it up 3 1/4 plus 3 3/4. Go ahead and start with the fraction side first. 1/4 plus 3 more fourths. Well, that's 4/4. Are you going to go and write 4/4? Because doesn't 4/4 equal 1 whole? So don't leave it as 4/4 on the fraction side. Change it over to 1 whole on the whole number side, and we're back with an easy problem now. 1 plus 3 more. Hey, that's 7. Not 6 4/4. Same thing over here. Don't forget to do the work in parentheses first, but it's a little bit trickier because I'm trying to multiply with a whole number of 2, and before I start multiplying a whole number by a fraction, I have to give it a denominator of 1. So 2 times 2, that's 4. Do the denominator times the denominator. Now 1 times 3, that is 3. So now I have to go 3/4 times 4/3. So let's get that set up. I'm going to start numerator times numerator. 3 times 4, hey, that's 12. Denominator times denominator. 4 times 3, that's also 12. So if I have a fraction where the numerator and the denominator are the same, 12 twelfths equals 1 whole, right? Okay, quite a few steps in this one. Looks kind of easy, but it's a little bit involved. Start off with the fraction side. 3/4 plus 3/4. Well, that's just going to give us 6/4. That's not too tough so far, but you got to remember to simplify and reduce. 6/4 is really going to be 1 2/4. If I divide 4 and a 6 one time, there'd be 2 left over, but I'm still not done because now I can reduce it, right? So 1 2/4, if you reduce it down, is 1 1/2. Now let's take care of our whole number side. 3 plus 3, that's 6. So I have 6 for an answer on my whole number side. I have 1 1/2 for an answer on my fraction side. My last step, I have to go and add these two answers together. 6 plus 1 1/2, that's going to give you a grand total of 7 1/2. Okay, here we have 8/9 divided by 2, but I have a couple steps before I start trying to take care of a divide problem, especially if I have a whole number. I have to write all whole numbers as fractions, so my first step, I better write the whole number 2 with a denominator of 1. Then it says, change divide to times and write the reciprocal of the second fraction. So I don't really want to do 8/9 divided by 2 over 1. I really need 8/9 times 1/2. Then it's just numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator. So 8 times 1, yeah, that's got to be 8. 9 times 2, that's going to give us 18. But don't leave a fraction with a pair of even numbers. That means I can reduce it. What's the biggest number I can divide into both 8 and 18? Hopefully you see it. That would be 2, right? So 8 divided by 2, that's going to give us 4. 18 divided by 2, that's going to give us 9 for a final answer of 4/9. So here we have 5 minus 1 86/100. A couple of rules we have to remember. First of all, put a decimal point at the end of any whole numbers. If one of the numbers has a decimal point, write them all with decimal points. Then we want to go and line them up at the decimal, right? And the final step before I start subtracting, I have to go and fill in any empty places with zeros. So here I have 5 and 0/100. Now I'm ready to subtract 1 86/100. And I end up with a final answer of 3 14/100. One coming at us from lesson 106 that says, in 1 3,725 10,000ths, which digit is in the thousands place? The first one is the tenths. The next one to the right of the decimal point is the hundreds. The thousands place is 3 to the right of the decimal point. So tenths, hundreds, thousands. So which digit is it? That digit would be 2. Check out this one coming at us from lesson 103. What's the volume of the cereal box with the dimensions shown? It has a length of 7, a width of 2, and a height of 10. Remember, volume equals length times width times height. 10 times 2, that's going to be 20. 20 times 7, that's going to give us 140. And don't forget to label in cubic units. If I multiplied three numbers together, label your inches with an exponent of 3. Check out this one. Which of these figures has no lines of symmetry, either vertically or horizontally? Well, I think I see a line of symmetry vertically here on this guy, and there would have to be a line of symmetry right here on C. D would have both vertical and horizontal symmetry. So the final answer, which one would have no lines of symmetry? That would have to be B. One coming at us from lesson 97. It says there's 8 girls and 12 boys in the class, and they want to know the ratio of girls to boys. Start with girls first, and it said there that we had 8. And then to boys, they had 12 boys, so I'm starting off with what looks like a fraction of 8/12. Now let's go and make sure you can reduce ratios, but don't simplify them to mixed numbers. So now I have to go and find the biggest number I could divide into both 8 and 12. You could go ahead and use 2, but you just end up having to divide again. The biggest number you could divide into both would be 4. So 8 divided by 4, that's going to give us 2. Go ahead and do the denominator. 12 divided by 4, that's going to leave us 3, for a final answer of 2/3. One coming at us from lesson 74 that states, a bolt of cloth is 40 yards long. How many feet long is a bolt of cloth? And they want you to remember there's 3 feet in a yard. So you got to think of this as 40 groups of 3. 40 times 3. Well, 40 times 3 would be 120 feet. And that, my friends, is the end. You definitely want to double check all your questions and answers to be successful, and good luck.